Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Brad, and with me, as always, is Jamie, and this is the Race Car Spelled Backwards podcast. Jamie, how the heck are you doing, man?
Hurrah! Hurrah to you.
I don't know, Master Splinter?
Yeah, Master Splinter.
That's what you sounded like there.
That's what I was trying to be. I love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I like the live action movie. I remember when I was a kid, I was in karate, and we went to a karate tournament.
Were they dressed in
Oh, yeah.
Ninja Turtles?
They had two of the
Oh,
Ninja
that is
Turtles
too
were there,
awesome.
and it was because the guys in the suits, they were like karate guys. So they were performing at this tournament I was in.
So who was your favorite turtle?
Oh, man, it's probably had to be Michelangelo.
Oh, I like Donatello.
He was smart.
He was a genius.
Well, Michelangelo was smart too, but he had
Well, they
fun.
were all smart in their
He
own
had
way.
fun. He just liked to have a good time.
I mean, they hardly ever got their ass beat.
No, that's because they were the Ninja Turtles. They had a hard shell on their back. How do you beat that? If you're another animal.
And their swords.
Well, it's swords. Donatello had a stick. I always felt like he got gypped.
Yeah, but you can poke someone from a distance.
I mean, that's what we would do with a snake.
Tag your it.
If a snake goes by, we're gonna poke them. You know?
Isn't that weird? They never really. There was one episode when I was younger where they ran into an alligator in the New York sewer. They never ran into a snake.
Yeah, I don't.
I grew out of it. You'd think boas and pythons, they would get too big in those apartments in New York and they'd flush them down the toilet.
I've went back and read some of the older comics, and I don't remember seeing a snake. Now, you had the blob, the little pink blob thing.
Yeah.
You had the rhino, the pig, the alligator. You had Shredder, the Foot Clan. So I know my Ninja Turtle lingo. I enjoyed the.
I wonder why they never
Turtles.
sponsored a NASCAR race.
The Ninja Turtles?
Yeah, they should have.
Why do I feel like they've been on a car?
Have they?
I feel like there's a NASCAR Ninja Turtle connection
want
that I
that-
just don't know
I
of.
want that die cast.
That probably is not a die cast. So if you noticed, if you watch the show on YouTube and you're joining in,
Brad built us a studio.
we're back in the barn, the darn barn studio.
Darn barn.
It's not completed, but it's here.
It's good enough.
It's what we're working with.
Looks good.
Looks a lot different than the camper we've been recording in. But we got some die cast in front of us here. We got Dale Jr.'s Daytona win.
How about breaking news? We have a new news desk.
It doesn't
And
like a news desk.
tornadoes hit California and caused mudslides because of the snowbanks that were there all year. Oh my goodness, do you think there's climate change going on or just a lot of rain? Back to you, Brad.
You know, I was really thinking about climate change, and I think if we get rid of the wall altogether at the southern border, it would allow the winds to flow freer. And it
You
would
think that would prevent hurricanes?
I think it would lessen hurricanes because it would increase the southerly winds.
I was thinking the wall wasn't tall enough, and if it was taller, it could get all the way up to the eye of the hurricane and prevent them.
Who do you think the Chinese used to build that wall? They got slaves?
Oh, I think the Chinese
It's probably Chinese slaves.
are actually floating money to us to build the wall. Because,
No, I mean, I'm talking about the Great Wall of China.
I'm talking about the wall between us and Mexico, because aren't China and Mexico kind of competitors in manufacturing?
The fentanyl?
Fentanyl, whatever, cars, Suburbans are made in Mexico now.
Yeah, well, a lot of heating and air equipment's made.
So
in
is
Mexico.
that PT Cruiser with Chrysler?
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I don't know if they even make the PT Cruiser anymore, but
I haven't seen the PT Cruiser in a long time. Not new. I think they stopped making that in the early 2000s.
well, they only last for like 18 months, so
Not like that new car you bought.
it's running. It just got stink eye on it.
That's all that matters is that it works.
Well,
What else you do this weekend?
took care of my spouse because she's a mother.
Amen. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
I did dishes 3 times.
I don't think we would probably survive without mothers.
I'm pretty sure. It's like 100%. That's a fact, Jack.
And
How would we be birthed if we didn't have mothers? Test tubes?
I was reading an
You'd be
article.
a test tube baby.
I was reading an article or a post or something
Or a
yesterday.
butthole baby.
I was reading about doing the gender bending segment, and I swear, man, like I thought Alice in Wonderland was a weird book, but if you start reading about this gender stuff, and they were like, men can be mothers too.
Really? Can they lactate and provide sustenance to a baby?
But they can't carry.
I guess they could put like some Gerber on their nipples, but that's just weird.
It's.
Well, if they could put,
You see that one guy said that.
can they put ovaries, attach it to a butt?
No,
You could really be a butthole baby.
no, it just can't happen. And
I don't know. What if you harvested the entire portion
Uterus?
that gives birth?
Take
Ovaries, uterus.
put it in the anus.
No, just slice a man open and put it in.
Then you're Frankensteining it.
But isn't that about where we're at anyway?
Frankensteining?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're Frankensteining it all.
I mean, when you start doing the
with
surgeries,
the terms and stuff.
when you start doing the surgeries, you are Frankensteining because that's what Frankenstein was, right?
Yeah, could we get someone to volunteer to have female parts inserted in and see what happens?
Go for it.
They put a baboon.
Why don't you do it on the show?
I'm not doing it. I don't want to be a woman.
You do it on
They put a baboon's heart in a human. Why can't they put?
This is how we take the show to the next level.
I mean, let's
You
not have
become a woman.
Let's not have a false flag. Let's have real functioning organs in a male.
I'm sure you could build one. That's what you're getting at, right?
Yeah, but I don't want metal stuff
No, I mean,
like $6 million man crap.
you're saying like a donated body, like a body.
I'm
like
sure you can find
somebody
a
who
woman that
somebody who
identifies as
donates-
a man.
somebody who donates their organs, right? Like,
Well, just do a quicko changeo. Like, a woman that wants to be a male and a male that wants to be a woman. It should be an easy sell. We're going to take the entire system and switch them.
the old
It's kind of like putting a
the old switcheroo.
Dodge Hemi in a Chevy Camaro.
No, it's more like putting a Dodge Hemi in a Huffy bicycle.
Let's do it. Let's stop the nonsense and do it.
Let's just build it out.
Let's do it.
Nah.
Let's start a GoFundMe page.
And you're gonna do it.
I'll manage the money. I'm not going to do it.
Jamie will be Mrs. Jamie. All right, so
I enjoy what God chose for me. So I'm going to stick with it.
I don't know that we'd have this podcast if you were a woman.
What? If I was born a woman, I'd want to be a man.
I just don't think it wouldn't have the same effect. I don't think it would be the same as it is now. So we went to the World of Coke this weekend.
Was that Coca-Cola or cocaine?
Coca-Cola. That's
And
what I
one
told.
cocaine?
That's what I told Denise. I said, I bet the World of Coke in Colombia is a lot different than the World of Coke here in
You think
Atlanta.
you have to be? It's probably PG-13.
In Colombia?
Yeah, I think they lower the age for use of cocaine. So that
Yeah, at the Pablo Escobar estate, there's the cocaine museum.
you got to be 13.
The Colombia World of Coke.
They could do like, a learner's permit training video. This is how you cut the coke up. I mean, they use gasoline and stuff. I've
Diesel.
seen all the movies.
I read a book and they
Diesel?
were putting like diesel fuel in they would put the coca leaves in the laundry in the dryer wash machines, fill it with diesel fuel and drive it around and have the tanks hooked to the axle of the truck. So as long as the truck was moving, it was turning the wheel.
Does that get the powder out of the leaves?
I don't know what it does, but they were using. That's just I don't know. This wasn't a book about cocaine. It was a army guy who snuck into Colombia to kill the cartel.
Well, think about how genius the coca plant is. It's actually green.
Yeah, and it makes brown
Chocolate.
Yeah.
And it
Right.
makes cocaine. And it's an ingredient in the Coca-Cola. It used to be cocaine, but now
What
it's
don't
cocoa.
they? Don't they chew the coca plant in some countries like to get a not a
Yeah, like
buzz, but
Colombia and Venezuela.
like an
Oh
energy
no, yeah,
rush?
it's like coffee to them.
You know, like we just they ain't got no teeth, but they just chew.
Well, who figured out that you could dump diesel fuel in it and split up the cocaine from the leaves?
I don't know.
I mean, how obviously since it was a main ingredient in Coca-Cola back in the day, that
Who's sitting there
they
with
knew how to do it.
with a coca tree and say, if we put this in diesel and then we dry it out, and then we cook it down, we'll have cocaine. Yeah, how does that come about? We should do a podcast on cocaine.
Do you think there's a Wikipedia page on the invention of cocaine?
I guarantee it. We could definitely do a whole episode of
Will
it.
they let us edit it?
Probably not.
Because we're both banned.
Have you ever been to the World of Coke?
Been there, yeah. Went there a couple years ago. Pre-COVID, I went.
Did you try the?
And then went to the aquarium.
Did you do the taste testing?
Oh, for the stuff around the world?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some nasty stuff out there.
Did you try the Beverly from Italy? The
I don't know
really nasty one?
Beverly. I tried one from India that was nasty.
I didn't really like any of them. I liked the Mr. Pibb from North America with the cherry additive. That was my favorite.
Mr. Pibb, which is just fake Dr. Pepper.
Correct. They didn't have Dr. Pepper's not an option, right? We got Dr. Pepper.
Owned by
some of those Coke
Sweats.
Freestyle machines have Dr. Pepper though, at Wendy's and stuff. And I mean, at Universal, it was Mr. Pibb because it was a Coke Freestyle only. But I can do Mr. Pibb, especially when they have the cherry additive. I can really do it then. So,
why do they call it Dr. Pip?
Because that would be stealing. Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, Dr. Pepper.
Well, Dr. Pepper.
They got Dr. Thunder at Walmart.
Dr.
Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pemberton.
I think we need a blind taste test for next week. I'm going to bring Dr. Thunder, it's Dr. Pepper, and Mr. Pibb, and see if you can distinguish which is which.
Ooh. Okay. I'm down for the challenge. I like Dr. Pepper.
Let's see if you can find
I want to try the new Dr. Pepper strawberry cream soda.
3 little Dixie cups.
You tried that?
Right there in front of the camera, and you can sip it. Hey, that's a Bud car.
It's a Budweiser car.
There's your Miller car. They're now selling more.
I bet they are. You got the good rent service Dell Earnhardt car, and the number 3 car, and the beat up Porsche.
It was wrecked. Maybe we should. It's mine. I wrecked it. Let's show the damage.
The damage of it.
It's almost like my real one at home.
What else we got in news going on?
News. Well, what did you?
Title 42 ended last week.
You took your wife to World of Coke for Mother's Day?
No, we hung out around the house for Mother's Day.
Oh, okay.
Last week, there was an Afghan terrorist arrested crossing over into the over the southern border in Southern California.
Why did they stop him?
It's crazy, man. Like the border.
Why wouldn't they send them to that park we saw over by USC in LA?
Hang out with the rest of the homeless people?
Yeah, blow up some of them tents.
I'm not surprised. I mean, what else is coming over the border that we don't know about? You got fentanyl. They say 98% of the fentanyl that comes into America comes over the southern border.
Someone told me during COVID they were doing bags of sugar because they were rare and bringing eggs, raw eggs. Because it's $5 for a dozen.
So they're smuggling them over?
Yeah, they could buy them for 99 cents over Mohigo and bring it over to America and get, that's 400% increase.
What's your opinion? What do you think?
I don't care.
Do you think we need to have more of a secure border, or should we?
Oh no, I think we ought to secure borders because, for some apparent reason, people still want to come here.
To move to Norway, you have to have a job. You can't become a citizen in Norway or Switzerland even. Norway only has 5 million people in it. Norway and Switzerland are the 2 happiest places on earth.
That's because they're the most middle class in the world. See,
and they're the least diverse.
But we've exposed the problem with America. You've got your super uber wealthy. They'll tell you to pass these liberal policies because it doesn't really affect them. It appeases the poor people, which they want to do. And they've got a staff of accountants and lawyers so they can take advantage of the legal loopholes to where they don't really pay the price increases. So the burden falls on you and me and people like us.
That's just how it's going to work anyway.
So it really doesn't matter what political party the billionaires of America are, they support themselves.
True that.
And it really doesn't matter
But
about
that's
the
who
lowest of societies because the government supports them.
But that's saying there's a difference between the two parties also.
There's not.
There is down at our level, but on a
Yeah, but
political, that's on the,
That's just a veil they put on our glasses so we
On
don't
the-
see that the two extremes are really the same. They destroy the middle class.
as far as a constituent goes, there's no party, or there is a party. But as far as a political level goes, it's just all for show.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, think about it. Think about the time America was at its most productive was right after World War II to about the mid to late 60s.
Mm-hmm.
What did we have? We had a large middle class.
Well, it used to be
It's half the size as it was back 40 years ago because both parties are like just destroying the energy of the middle class.
Well, if you think about it, like if you look at back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, the American dream that was being sold to the American people was big house, big cars, family, wealth, all these everything was bigger. Like everything's bigger in Texas. Well, same mentality was the American dream. Well, now if you look at the same politicians that were selling the dream in the 80s, in the 70s, are now selling a tiny home, smaller car dream.
And they're selling division, not unity.
Oh, there's no doubt. Division is
both parties.
The division that's being sold right now is absolutely insane. This one politician I saw, she was saying that the Supreme Court could make it illegal to have Black History Month with the type of bills or the type of judgments they're making right now.
Well, I'm about to get canceled, but
oh joy,
Black history is intertwined with our history, right?
Yeah.
So why do we have to designate one as white history or Black history? It's all just history.
I got no problem with Black History Month.
I don't have a problem with it, but I'm just saying.
I mean, I see what you're saying too, but
slavery is still a part of our history, being white Americans,
but
right?
I think and it's important to represent that history properly. Like that's how civilization grows by its mistakes, right?
Learning from their mistakes.
Yeah.
I don't think we've learned.
Okay, but to learn from our mistakes, you have to have an accurate portrayal of those mistakes. So if you start cutting out history, whether it's Black history, white history, Asian history, American history, England history, Mexican history, it doesn't matter what history it is. If you start cutting out little pieces of it, you're changing history. So no matter how bad the history is, it's still there.
And if you don't teach it, you're going to repeat it.
Exactly. I mean, you just look at civilization as a whole. Look at Rome. I mean, you see a Roman Empire out there anymore?
No, and Italy's just
the Greeks.
They got good pizza and pastries in Italy. That's about it.
Like the Greeks. I mean, these are
and they're Greek.
Huge.
Greece is bankrupt, so
yeah, these were huge civilizations, and then you got America. I mean, if you start excluding history, politicians can then repeat history and make the same mistakes for their gain. They already know how history. They can use the same playbook.
Oh, I think our politicians are great historians.
Yeah.
Because they've learned in the last 20 years that for them individually, they benefit from separation. They're pushing the narrative of what the 60s were. We are, by our own weapons, we're weaponizing the division.
Yeah, but they want the division because
once they're going to get us so divided at some point, there's no stopping it. And what we know as today as America won't exist anymore.
But to create division creates distraction. Keep us distracted with the division so they can do, yet again, whatever they want to do.
that is
that
cater to the
benefits them.
billionaires and throw a bone to the poor people.
They're not even doing that. They're telling you they're throwing you a bone, but they're not throwing you a bone.
What they're doing is letting the middle class make the bone to throw to the lower classes, while the middle class or the upper, the uber rich, are like, all right, they call their tax attorney and their accountant, get me out of this. I don't want to suffer from the crap I supported.
So what do you do?
Well, we're going to end up with a revolution. It's coming. I mean, look, I'm not going to get into the January 6th argument of whether you support it or not. We're going to see more of that.
Busting them windows.
We're going to see more of that. That's what's going to happen.
Everybody just needs to be pre-warned. If you bust Jamie's window,
I'm shooting you.
He's shooting you. I mean, and he's very open about it.
Yep.
So it's
the question is, what caliber will you be shot with?
It depends on the first one you grab.
Well, whatever's closest.
Yeah.
Don't break my window.
Shoot with one to wound you, shoot with the other one to end you.
Oh no, it's slug butt.
All right, let's go to gender bending, and then we'll jump into all the NASCAR news and everything from this weekend.
Oh, let me check.
Checking his gender for everybody not watching.
I'm still a man.
He's still, man and woman is not in the 78 gender definition website I go to.
So I can't pick that?
No, male and female is not an option.
I have to pick one out of the 200 others?
You have to be cisgender.
Does that mean
which means you are the gender you were born as.
No, it sounds like cisgender. Sounds like you're in love with your sister's gender. Which is illegal in everywhere but Arkansas, isn't it?
In Mississippi.
Oh, Mississippi, it's legal too?
As long as your parents
I thought Mississippi just had to be.
I think your parents have to be divorced for it to be
at least
legal.
first cousin in Mississippi.
No, your parents have to be divorced.
Oh, okay.
Now, maybe if they're never married.
So if your sister's a half sister, is that okay in Mississippi? I think it's okay in Arkansas.
Arkansas, I don't think
they have rules. Yeah,
there's no rules. So you ready?
Ready?
You gonna do the opening for Gender Bender?
Today in Gender Bending,
and we have our news desk on WS3 TV. Today on Gender Bending, we have Jamie. Jamie, your first word.
Oh my.
GirlFlux. That's GirlFlux. GirlFlux.
Okay. So here's what I got.
What do you got?
Thinking about it right now. So, as we know, a female has a vagina.
Correct.
If you can manipulate it without using your hands, that is a GirlFlux or flex.
Flux, not flex. Flex was last week.
You're fluxing it.
Flexisexual was last week.
You're fluxing it.
I don't understand.
Well, your flux capacitor.
Is it kind of like a X-Men thing?
Well, it's like
you're making it flux.
No hands.
Bing! That's a flux.
I just fluxed.
That
was a man flux, but not a.
All right, this is a long definition, so I'm gonna try to get through the whole thing.
Oh,
Jamie,
can you do it within an hour and a half for a show?
I'm hoping.
All right.
GirlFlux individuals can fluctuate from feeling completely without gender or agender to completely feminine or female. Between those extremes, one may feel slightly feminine or libra feminine to half feminine or demigirl to mostly feminine.
Hold it, you threw in like 10 more definitions here.
Or paragirl or any other amount of femininity. That was one sentence. Like I said, I'm struggling to get through these without laughing.
Oh my.
Some individuals may move smoothly between intensities while others may quickly jump between intensities.
You can be half woman or full woman?
GirlFlux individuals may encompass genders such as paragirl, demigirl, libra femininity, jux era, girlx, binary female. What's that? GXRL. I don't know how to pronounce that one.
Grexel?
Okay.
Grexel Roman wrestling?
Grexel and many other feminine genders.
Dude.
Do you know what GirlFlux means by that definition, Jamie?
I am just as lost as when I first heard it.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'll read these. I actually
Someone with a PhD came up with that definition.
I pasted the whole definition this time for us, thinking it would bring some kind of clarity, and it doesn't. Like, I'm more confused now than I was when I started. Like, first off, the fact that male and female is not even in there blows my mind.
Is there does it tell us who came up with that name? Can
No.
you trace the origin of GirlFlux?
I would Flux.
Flux?
At least get it right.
Well, they didn't get it right. I should understand what it is after you read the definition.
All right. You ready for your next one?
Sounds like it's ever defining. Go.
The next gender we have this week is SP gender. That's ESSPI gender. SP gender.
It's like when you are a female athlete and you win the ESPY award on ESPN, and you still, after winning the award, identify as a female.
No. SP, this one I found hard to believe.
Are you making these up?
No, I swear to y'all. That's why I spell them out for you.
Oh my goodness.
I want y'all to go look these up. SP gender is related to being a spirit as it exists on a higher elevation or extra dimensional space,
so
and
soul
is a subcategory of xenogender.
Okay.
I
don't know what that means.
That's about as clear as mud.
Hmm.
I would want to meet somebody who is SP gender only.
Does it tell us what gender they started out as?
We're gonna have to find an SP gender conference and go to it.
Well, it's probably only that.
We're probably not even saying it right.
It's probably some sociologists with multiple PhDs will be the only one that shows up to the convention. They made it up.
Are you ready for the last one?
Go.
Call gender. COLL.
Ooh, that's college racing.
Call. Not K, not with a K, it's with a C. COLLGENDER. Call gender.
Okay, so when you're in college, you're not happy with your gender and you change it.
Does that ever happen to you?
Call because you're collegiate, and then gender. And it's okay during they say the average now is 6 years in college.
For college years?
Yeah, if you go ahead and during that 6-year period change genders, it's okay because you're a called gender. But when you graduate, you got to choose based on the underwear you wear. Do you get silk Calvin Kleins or do you get cotton?
Cotton.
Well, here's something I want to suggest.
Silk.
Now, why do I have a pee hole in my underwear? I always pull my underwear all the way down to pee. Have you ever stuck your little man through the little pee hole?
It's funny you bring this up because I was just complaining at the Columbia. My wife bought me some Columbia underwear, and they don't have it.
Well, I'm okay with that. You ever had it sneak out and start rubbing a zipper?
No, that ain't gonna. It's not like a cut in the front. On briefs, it's like you got a snake out of it. You have to work your way out. It ain't just gonna fall out.
Well, the problem is you slide it through the pee hole in your underwear, it starts choking that chicken.
No, I don't know what kind of underwear you're wearing. I've never had that issue.
I wear Fruit of Looms.
Maybe that's why.
That's it, because they're called Fruit of the Loom.
Maybe it's cutting your loom
I
off.
always thought that meant, you had two apples hanging down from your duvet.
It's gonna rip your loom off. In the picture of it, a banana and some grapes
and some apples.
There you go.
Yeah.
Frankenbeans.
Fruit of the Loom.
They couldn't do Frankenbeans because, call gender. I never even described that we're talking about Frankenbeans over here. All right, call gender. Jamie, you were wrong. It's nothing to do with your college gender. It is a term for multi-gendered
I'm so relieved because if you didn't go to college, you wouldn't have experienced the call gender.
Exactly. So it is a term for multi-gendered individuals who can't describe each one of their genders due to having so many.
So you got like 5 penises and 6 vaginas down there?
They have
That
too
sounds
many.
like something out of Revelations, dude. Some monster down in your waistline. I don't know what it is. Oh my goodness! Can you imagine? Regardless of
And he
what
produced
gender,
the 6 penises of the royal throne.
no matter what gender you pick up at the bar, you pull down your pants and they go, "Oh my goodness!"
I can't decide if you're a man or a woman. You got so many.
Daniel foretold of this in the Old Testament. Oh my goodness! Look at that monster with 6 eyeballs.
Oh man,
It's a multi-gendered thingamajiggy there.
so it says they have too many simultaneous genders to be able to describe each one
You
individually.
can go screw yourself.
Instead, they may choose to describe them more as a collective. Describe a few individual genders, but not all, or not describe them at all.
That gets the old cooter sideways hat, not backwards. The old cooter hat here.
Be like Janet's cooter shooter.
Oh my goodness. What have we fallen into with this segment?
You are.
It can only get worse.
If you have so many genders that you can't describe them,
so this is what happens.
You might be a call gender.
This is what happens when trash from Mississippi marries trash from Arkansas. You get to be a call gender.
And move to the moon-eyed town of Bristol, Tennessee.
When your sister marries your sister and you marry your sister again, you get a call gender because you go down there. Now you get birthed by the midwife, and the midwife says, "Oh my goodness,
you ain't even gonna be able to take penicillin to fix that."
I don't know if them are skin tags or testicles here. There's a lot of them.
You got so many genders, you got to describe it as call gender. You can't. No, it's just ludicrousy.
Arkansas.
It's got to be. It's got to be the runoff water they're drinking from the Arkansas sludge pits.
You think they're far enough down the Mississippi, all that poison that gets dumped in by the factories up north?
In Ohio?
Iowa.
Yeah.
They're just, Illinois, they're just slurping on the poison. Coming up with multi-genders.
Well, I mean, they was about to throw down over some burnt cheese pizza, Hunt's Brothers Pizza at the Love's truck stop in Arkansas when we were
there. They were very upset.
I want my half-gallon of sweet tea, and I want it now.
You only got cheese pizza. I want my pepperoni.
I mean,
where's my pepperoni?
I don't know what gas station was worse. Arkansas Love's. By no means are we dogging Love's.
We love Love's.
Even Love's can't fix Arkansas, is what we're getting at.
No.
You know, like Paul McCartney said, he was wrong.
Dirtiest gas station. We hit all the Loves across America twice.
What was worse, Love's in Arkansas or the Indian casino with Deborah?
That was a pilot.
Where she was trying to kidnap me.
Deborah was at a pilot. I mean, our expectations were too high from the Loves anyway. But those bathrooms were destroyed. Well, I mean, she could have been a co-gender or whatever the hell that is.
Call gender?
She could have been.
Colon gender?
You know, if you hung around a little longer, you might have found out. But we had to get to California.
That's a fact.
See the race.
Yeah, and if I would have hung around any longer, she was probably going to scalp me and kill me.
And this is a perfect segue to mention. We are Cannonball Run champions.
We did run the Cannonball.
And we're champions.
Of the runs.
Yeah.
And we did champion it.
Luckily, we did not get diarrhea at all.
No.
While we were driving. We didn't really eat enough.
We didn't get diarrhea.
Food poisoning.
What? So I was telling my wife, we were talking about something, you know, and
food poisoning.
If you ever watch this show, it's about as random as possible. And somehow she follows along most of the time, but we're talking about something.
We've been married a while, so she
told her, I said, it's kind of crazy. Like, when me and you were on the Cannonball Run, at one point, it was like, man, we're eating a lot of junk food. But we were probably eating like 1,500 calories worth of junk food a day. And that was all we were intaking. If 1,500 is probably a stretch.
Yeah, because we weren't banking any poo. It's not like I needed extra trips to the bathroom when we finally landed in California.
I had lost 3 pounds when I got home.
And we sat there and burned no calories.
Yeah, but we weren't eating. You couldn't eat because you couldn't poop.
Oh, we might have burnt like 2 calories. Going, look at that meth lab out there in the middle of the desert. Look at there.
Running from Deborah.
Yeah, we're running from Arkansas.
Would you look at there, buddy? Hey, buddy. Hey,
we got to Arkansas. We actually stepped it up about 10 miles an hour. We pedaled that Prius as fast as we were. Like, we cannot break down in Arkansas.
Hey, did you see Alex Bowman's interviews this weekend?
About his spine tingling issues?
Yeah, apparently he's in a lot of pain. You could tell just by the facial expressions that
he's afraid of being dropped by the jacks.
That's what he said. He's got some scans this week, and he'll update us on when he'll be coming back. But I would think...
You notice Barry ain't as good in the 24 car?
48.
48, whatever. Oh, yeah, 24-1.
You think it's just a harder stretch of tracks, maybe?
No, I think it's okay, crew.
Maybe.
Crew chief.
Well, he was 9 laps down, so... Bowman's on fire. That's for sure. Did you see the trophy for North Wilkesboro?
The little teeny still? My question is...
It's not teeny.
Functioning still.
See,
you can make some just for your own consumption. You just can't sell it.
From what actually in the state of Alabama, you cannot make alcohol for your personal consumption.
But they sell it, right?
You can't. They sell alcohol, but you can't make craft beer, wine, or moonshine in the state of Alabama and consume it.
But there's craft beer bars. I have a cousin.
You can go to a craft beer bar, but he's paying state taxes on every drop of alcohol he makes. I'm saying for personal consumption, I can't go over there and make some beer and drink.
Well, let's shout out to my cousin, the Pharaoh in Birmingham. Is there a river called Catawba there?
Cahaba.
Cahaba.
He's Cahaba
He
Brewery,
owns
right?
Cahaba Brewery.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Been there.
Oh, was it good?
I took, they got lunch and dinner there too. Right? Am I thinking of the right place? Down there
a few years ago. I went pre-COVID.
in the industrial complex area? I'm pretty sure it's got lunch there. I feel like
some old building that they redid.
So, speaking of the trophy,
he's rich.
We are going to North Wilkesboro this weekend.
We are?
We're not. I wish we were. I don't know if I wish we were or not. Like, we went. We were there.
Think we could be more excited than when we went last year to the Cars Tour.
I think, honestly, I'm more excited about tomorrow night and Wednesday night at North Wilkesboro than I am Saturday night. And that's just being real. Like, you got the ECMD 150 tomorrow, Tuesday night. Tuesday night, you got Chase Elliott, William Byron, Noah Gregson, Eric Jones, Daniel Suarez in the ECMD 150. And then Wednesday night in the Cars Tour race, you got Dale Jr., Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, Ross Chastain, Suarez, Chase Briscoe, and Harrison Burton. And that's...
Think Ross will cause some trouble in that one too?
Dude, if Ross wrecks one of the Cars Tour regulars, it ain't going to be no goofy haircutted Noah Gregson coming after him. It's going to be
he's going to be rolling on the downhill between turns 4 and 1.
It's going to be Bobby from the oil change place.
And then a fist of cuffs on pit road. I mean, he might even get out of his car during the race and come over and pop Chastain in the face.
Oh, it ain't going to be.
It ain't going to be pretty.
It's going to look like... what was that? The Sizzler this weekend at Stafford I watched. I mean, them guys rough and tumble. It ain't no cup driver.
A little rough and tumble last year.
You don't have Noah Gregson, who can't really land a punch, unfortunately. But you don't have him coming at you. You got, like I said,
you got these boys
the real deal.
Fight every weekend.
You also have Corey Heim, Carson Hocevar, and Garrett Smithley in the Harley-Davidson 75 Pro Late Model race Wednesday night as well, along with Rodney Sandstorm, a.k.a. Jordan Taylor. He's driving the #1 vintage Jeff Gordon Rainbow Warrior throwback scheme. And he's got Rodney Sandstorm on the Jordan Taylor's racing in this race.
But it's gonna be what, a #3 with rainbow on it?
#1 with the Jeff Gordon Rainbow Warrior paint scheme. You know how Rodney Sandstorm always does his Jeff Gordon jacket and his jorts? So he's throwing it all the way back. His paint scheme's going to be the Moonshine, the
Moon-Eyed people from
the Moon-Eyed people
from North Wilkesboro.
The Moon-Eyed. I'm sure they was.
Yeah, I was looking at the map. North Wilkesboro isn't really north of Wilkesboro. It's more northeast.
North Wilkesboro is where we saw the overweight meth ninja at the red light. He was standing there, wah, wah.
It's also where the lady tried to wear my face at the gas station.
Yeah, you married?
And the CIA listening compound behind our
Lowe's,
hotel,
aka Lowe's
on
Home
the
Improvement.
Google Maps, it says Lowe's Home Improvement, but
We have
there is no Lowe's
13-foot fences and security cameras and 0 cars.
Yep.
Then you had the Trailer Trash Betty, who was doing the bar hop from the Coach's, Lowe's grocery store, Applebee's.
Maybe it was a Lowe's grocery store building and it's super secret.
I was listening to the Teardown, and they're like, and Jordan Bianchi's like, where are you going to take me for my birthday, Jeff, after the North Wilkesboro race? And he's like, I don't know what kind of nightlife they have in North Wilkesboro.
They got the wine bar at the Lowe's.
I was like, if they can go to the Lowe's grocery store and have a beer.
At the wine bar.
They have beer and wine at the grocery store.
They can pick up.
Or meth in the parking lot.
They can pick up Ugly Betty. She'll be there.
Dude, did you watch the that movie on Flow Racing that I told you to watch about North Wilkesboro?
Nah, being Mother's Day weekend.
Well, the trailer that we were making fun of, meth trailer, outside the track,
down the hill.
The guy who grew up in that trailer is on the show.
Is he on meth?
No, he's a race car driver.
So he decided to live in a burned up single wide?
No, when he was a kid and lived there, it wasn't a burned up single wide.
Is he old enough that they were having cup races?
I would imagine. Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
I would imagine. Like he said, he grew up there in the late 90s, early 2000s as a kid, riding dirt bikes on the track because it was closed. Nothing was going on but that. They would go play around in the infield, in the buildings and stuff. So it's on Flow Racing if you hadn't had a chance to check that out. Last week at Kansas, the TV ratings from FS1 had 2.3 million viewers. In 2013, the race was on the big channel of Fox and had 6.4 million viewers.
So do you think the money that the drivers and the teams are fighting for isn't going to be there in this next negotiation?
Look, Saturday's Xfinity race.
You got to have viewers, right?
Yeah, but why was the Xfinity race on Fox and the Cup race on FS1?
I don't think it went up against an NBA playoff game, which their viewership is way down too. I was listening to
China owns it. The NBA is owned by China.
I was listening to a sports-related podcast. For some reason, it played after I listened to last week's Denny Hamlin podcast. And it just, I guess my normal stuff was all listened to. So it rolled over to this podcast about basketball. Their viewership is way down the last 10 years, just like NASCAR.
I think attention spans have a lot to do with it.
Well, you know, to watch a live broadcast on a major network, you've got to watch commercials. And I'm so used to, we pay with Hulu not to have commercials. So I watch it the next day, and I don't have to watch commercials.
Well, NASCAR is a 3.5, 4-hour commitment every Sunday.
Take 100 laps off. It's over. 2 hours.
I enjoy my Wednesday night, my Friday night, and my Saturday night racing on Flow Racing way better than Cup racing, and it's because of the attention span. Like, that's a commitment too, though. If you're going to watch all the heat races and all the B mains and feature races and last chance, whatever, you're going to watch everything and then the feature race. And
do you have commercials of Flow Racing?
No. So you
I didn't see Flow. They were streaming this last weekend.
You get
some race that I watched for free.
You basically just watch the track. And you'll hear the announcers
That's what I
talk.
saw, but I was wondering if the experience was different if you subscribed. I know you can't pick your race if you're watching. They're streaming on YouTube.
Yeah, if you're watching free, you can't pick, but I can pick any live race. What I like to do, honestly, is watch them on replay, so then I can fast forward. But really, the heat races go pretty quick. If like the Lucas Oil,
and that's how I get my WEC
models
from Europe. They'll put the whole race on YouTube.
You just fast forward through it?
Fast forward until, I don't pay extra to miss my 5 commercials.
But what I'm getting at is those races are only 50, 100 laps at the most.
So I wonder if anyone from NASCAR has studied F1 formula to where they charge their sponsors so much that there's no ads.
I'm sure, but it doesn't matter with
Is it going to
F1.
work here in America?
Their product's 2 hours long. It's easier to pay for a 2-hour block with no commercials than a 4-hour block with no commercials. You know what I mean? So we have to.
So we cut
Look,
the race in half.
I was a huge advocate for not touching the length of a race until recently. And it's like Darlington, for example. Was it a good race? It was all right.
I give it a 7 out of 10.
I'm a 6. And that's because it was
But you can skip 2 stages now and just watch the last stage.
That's what I'm getting at. Like, when I watch short track racing, a lot of the times I watch the heat races or I'll skip the heat races. I could do without them because they're not beating and banging. It's just a quick 8-lap shootout. And a lot of times that's why I will watch them, is because it is a quick 8-lap shootout. It goes by so fast, it holds my attention. And then when it's done, another one starts. But I could have easily fast-forwarded through Darlington, went through stage 1. Martin Truex Jr. led all of stage 1.
He was dominant, man.
He almost led all of stage 2.
Yeah, I mean, he had the car. Unfortunately, he finished
second. You know,
I don't even Chastain. I don't know.
I don't even know. I mean, what to say about Ross at this point? Like,
keep him. I like what he's doing.
He is
not liking him.
Dude, he delivers on the content every single week. Like, you can't go wrong. We don't struggle on this show having something racing related to talk about usually. Because even when stage 1 and stage 2 sucks like it did, we have Ross Chastain to come in there and Chastain somebody. And
now here's a problem, I think.
Larson ain't going to cut you any slack either.
Well, he snowplowed the dude for about a mile.
Oh, I loved it. I think it was phenomenal.
And did you hear his spotter going, still pushing you.
Still pushing.
Still pushing.
He's still pushing you. He's still pushing you there, Ross. That was Larry McReynolds' son, Brandon. Yeah. Still pushing you, Ross. Hey, you know what? Ross knew it going into that. He come over and said it over his whatever, to his spotter or his crew chief. Said over there, come over the radio and said it. So he knew. So
here's the problem. So you got a multi-car team, right? You're going to race against Ross Chastain. You've got to now plan on Ross wrecking you, right?
Oh, no
that
doubt.
means you need a back marker team or teammate when you lap them to wreck them. And that way you preserve your win. Because how many, just this year, I think it's probably 6, he's changed the outcome of the race.
Oh, yeah. You want to talk race manipulation? Ross does that every single week. And like I said, it creates great content. But here's Ross's problem. Ross and Daniel Suarez. Daniel runs in the back. Ross runs up front. Ross, I don't think is that good of a driver.
He's not winning.
He hasn't won in over a year. And every week he's a talking point because he runs out of talent.
Well, he's had strong cars. His problem is, I think he would have won 1 or 2 races had he not wrecked the leaders.
Talent.
Right, talent. That's what it comes to. He needs to be smart enough to see that he'd have 2 wins right now if he'd just straight up drive.
He can't big picture race. Like,
nope. There's no planning.
He would do good in the Cars Tour 125-mile race.
Now, you can hear Denny post-race on his podcast where he's planning the whole race.
Yeah, but Ross
doesn't plan.
Ross gives you 1 lane, 1 car, 1 lane. That's what Noah was pissed about. And it's just uncalled for. It's because not only does it screw Noah, not only does it screw Larson. Larson didn't cut Ross any brakes whatsoever. Noah's not going to cut any brakes, but Larson didn't cut any brakes to Chastain yesterday. Chastain didn't cut any brakes to Larson. You leave no room, and it takes you both out. That is not good for Ross.
No. He could have won the race yesterday. We don't know.
He won stage 2. He had that's what I mean. At some point, at some point, the way Ross drives isn't a good thing anymore.
He's a moron.
He looks like an idiot, or as we like to call him on the show, a douchebag. And he makes the whole series as a whole, because other drivers are now having to drive on the aggressive or on the defense.
Well, you heard Kyle say, I don't know what he's going to do when he was talking to his spotter.
Well, you knew he was going
Larson was like,
you knew he was going to hit you.
well, he knew that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he did. So, I mean, if I'm a multi-team owner.
And it screwed both of their days up.
Yeah. But if I'm a multi-team owner, if I got a car that's not in the top 10 and I got a car in the top 5, guess what? That car needs to wreck Ross before the 3rd stage.
If I'm Chevrolet,
knock him out.
If I'm Chevrolet, I'm having a conversation with.
It's cost the manufacturer 5 races, I think.
That's 3 wins that Larson has been knocked out of by Chastain. They are supposed to be teammates, as in Chevrolet.
Ross doesn't have. I mean, Suarez isn't his teammate either.
No, they don't even like each other.
No.
But the problem is, if what Ross was doing,
look at Coda.
If
they said, go talk to your teammate, dude.
Yeah. If Ross was making these same moves on the last lap, we wouldn't be talking about it. You know, it wouldn't be a thing. It would be hard racing. But he's making these moves on lap 60 or
5 laps into Delaware.
Yeah, I mean,
hey, Larson, I'm going to wreck you.
He got into. Actually, I don't think he got into Martin Truex the first time, but he didn't cut him any slack either. That's what screwed Martin up.
Don't you think the drivers and the team owners should shut their pie holes and just deal with them? That's what I would say.
Yeah, I wish the driver
just deal with them.
But Noah's not the one.
Noah could be the one, but he's going to have to do it with his bumper, not with his fist.
Noah's like sending a high school junior to go over there and whoop up on some 38-year-old man.
He took that prodding from Chase. And
that'd have been like Jeff Gordon walking up to Dale Earnhardt telling him, I'm going to whoop you. Year 1. When Jeff had the stupid mustache still.
I mean, that one? Oh, it's shaved off.
He didn't have the mustache there. Yeah, everybody else did.
Dale Sr. told him to remove it.
Dale,
we ain't
Ernie,
going to sell any more die-cast. You keep that stupid porn stash on there when you look like you're 13.
Ernie and Terry's got their mustaches going on.
You know, I do think Jeff, though, is like 4 times the size he was in that picture.
Now?
Jeff's a big boy.
Well, he doesn't have a trainer anymore. No trainer.
There's got to be one on payroll over at HMS.
It doesn't matter.
I'd use them. Maybe we should reach out to Jeff, see if you and I could use their gym.
I would be all for that. I bet they have a nice gym.
Oh, I guarantee it.
I want to know how many passes happened yesterday. How many passes? Not how many happened in reality. How many passes?
Actual passes?
How many is NASCAR going to tell us happened?
2,300.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I think with it being Darlington, there was probably 4,800 passes.
Yeah, because you'd make your move, get a bumper past their bumper, and then you'd slow down. They'd be on the outside, and they'd pass you on the straightaway.
That's what I mean. So I'm thinking 48. What are you going with? They're probably going to quit telling us. They're probably going to quit telling us because we're all make fun of it.
Well, I think the Francis are seeing billions disappear on their next TV contract. They probably need to play a little poker and keep the pie holes shut.
I was telling my wife, I could easily see the Cars Tour or one of these other, small short track series taking off. Lucas Oil, the All-Star Circuit of Champions.
Think about it. Think of all the tracks.
The World of Outlaws. Look how big that is.
Look at all the tracks SMI and NASCAR own.
They're huge.
Yeah, but look at all the ones they don't own.
All these short tracks.
What if you came to my little dirt track down the road from where I live, Cochran Motor Speedway, probably seats 5,000 people, right? You bring the Cars Tour, you get Kevin Harvick to drive, you could get 120 a ticket. Shoot,
wow,
$200
easily. And you could situate it where you could fit 30, 40,000 people in there.
So you could rent the track and probably walk away with $1 million profit.
You know what I think would be cool is because we talk about having multiple disciplines in this series. Like we want you to be road course, oval, short track, intermediate track, and now Bristol dirt, which I don't think will be back next year. But And now we got a street course. So we want you to have all these disciplines. I think it would be cool to have like the Cars Tour run 12 races on asphalt, 12 races on dirt, and do points.
Yeah.
And don't do 12 and 12, like interlace them. So do one dirt, one asphalt.
Hey, you could
Two
build
dirt,
2
4
cars,
asphalt.
a dirt car
That's what I'm saying.
and an asphalt car.
They don't even have to look the same.
No.
Whatever's the best for that discipline. Like a late model. A late model looks great on dirt.
Well, think about it. For television,
The
winning
Cars Tour
in,
cars.
winning in, or main B, main A, main B, and then they fight it out. That's more interesting. Have the main as a 100 lap race.
Yeah. And either do it on dirt or asphalt. I mean, you can have either or. And you have enough tracks around the whole country where you could easily do a different track every week.
Well, I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to say in 5 years, we're going to have local racing that's competitive with NASCAR.
Yeah, I mean, if you have Dirt Vision, MAV TV,
racing.
Flow Racing, all that dirt on dirt, all these, they're going to have to pull together at
And
some
look
point.
at the big wigs hopping in. Tony Stewart owns SRX. He owns that little sprint midget thing.
Well, you know, Flow Racing does all the NASCAR Weekly Series, so they're not completely separate from NASCAR. They do ARCAs on Flow Racing as well.
Well, look what happened with Camping World. They are the main sponsor for SRX, but they just dropped the Truck Series. They see more value in SRX.
I do like Camp Craftsman being back at the Truck Series, though.
Well, I like it, but I'm just saying. Camping World said our money is better spent.
That's just because Marcus over there at Camping World's
Wanting attention?
Well, he just got a massive ego that could not compete with the Francis ego. They could not exist at the same time. That's all.
Well, I think it was all a money thing. And he said, look, we're the main sponsor on SRX. And we have more viewers on SRX than we have on the Truck Series.
All right, so I'm going to help Fox fix their booth.
Can you?
We need to fire
I'd
Clint Boyer.
appreciate it.
We're going to fire Clint Boyer.
I think he's going to be fired after this season.
We're going to put Kurt Busch in there full time.
With Harvick?
Carl Edwards.
Carl's good.
And we're going to let those and Mike Joy for the rest of this season. And then next season, we're going to let Mike retire and let Kevin, Carl, and Kurt do it. Actually, that won't work. There's no way 3 drivers work. Carl,
we need Mac Reynolds in there with him. We need Mac Reynolds and 2 drivers.
Carl Edwards, what it is.
Wasn't it good seeing Carl?
Man, it was great. Like, I didn't realize how much I missed Carl until he came back.
The dude hasn't aged. Did you notice
Not
that?
a day. He looks
What is
better
he
now than he
doing?
did when he retired. That's where he's been. Getting
Well, you
younger.
know, he was very vocal. We forget he was vocal when he was a driver.
Oh, no doubt. But he kept it professional on the broadcast. He wasn't making stupid jokes that made no sense. Like, that's Clint's problem.
Or coming up with metaphors that no one knows about, like Clint does.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. That's Clint's problem. He's trying to be goofy all the time. It's funny every once in a while, but that's just who Clint is. And it just doesn't translate well in the booth. You can tell Mike Joy gets frustrated with Clint. Like, it's obvious.
Well, I'm waiting for Clint to just drop something totally stupid. Like,
He does every
hey,
week.
Mike Joy, did you notice my nipples are hard, Mike Joy?
You can tell Mike gets annoyed with him. It's like,
Maybe that's what gets Mike flustered and he starts
think
calling
it
out the
is.
wrong drivers and stuff.
I think it is. I really do. So I think that's how you fix it. Carl just did a great job. Kurt does a great job. I mean, yes, Kurt is very biased towards Toyota and 2311.
What about
but he
Bill?
works there.
Bill Elliott with his 1820s accent, dude.
No, he's,
Doesn't he sound like a pioneer in North Georgia?
oh man, I'll tell you what.
Tell you what,
Oh
boy.
man, I'll tell you something. He on good.
I'm a little biased. That's my boy, old Trace
I'll
down
tell you
there.
something, my boy. That was a good looking car.
Yeah, I'm a little biased.
Hey man, I tell you what, I like old Bill. I do. I like old Bill.
I love
Elliott.
old Bill, but
I thought he did great, man. Even being Chase Elliott biased, what the insight that he brought to the booth was good information. Now, it's not good every week, but for somebody who has won at Darlington,
okay, but did you also notice he hadn't aged either? He had those wrinkles when he was 20.
True.
He looked like he was 60 when he was 20 years
I thought
old.
Richard Petty did great in the booth.
I did too, with his son.
Yeah.
That was the first time ever.
Yeah, and they did great.
Well, I mean, Kyle, what did Kyle win? 5 Cup Series races? 6, 7?
Maybe.
He wasn't a loser. He won.
Maybe.
He had crap equipment his whole career. By the time he took over his daddy's company, they were crap equipment.
All right, Big Tony.
Well. Oh, boy. Oh, no.
Let's read Jamie's.
Let's get into character here.
Jamie's dad joke skit of the week. The Adventures of Tiny Ty and Big Tony.
So this is, I actually got.
Wow. Man, that's a lot.
This is loosely based on something I found online, but once I revised it, it looked nothing like the original joke.
Man.
Gotta get in character. Ready? Let's do like
am I still tight?
Scooby-Doo. Ready?
I'm still Tiny.
Yeah. Scooby-Doo. Time lapse. You don't remember Scooby-Doo?
Not time lapse.
Yeah, that's a age thing, isn't it? Okay, you do that. I'm gonna do Scooby-Doo time lapse.
Okay, Big Tony.
What's going on, Tiny Ty?
Just a little bit of this and a little bit of that, Big Tony.
Did you collect for me from the VIG? You know, that guy owed me money. I told you to punch him in the face and collect. I didn't say collect.
I thought you said go get the COVID, Big Tony. I'm sorry.
Well, you probably got the COVID.
I got the COVID, Big Tony. You said get the vid, I got the COVID. You didn't specify which vid you get. I went to the HIV, I went to the COVID, I went to all the vids, and I ended up with the SIDS.
Oh, my. Where we going, Tiny Ty, next week? Where we going?
North Wilkesboro.
This week.
Wilkes County, Big Tony. Hey, Big T, you gonna come to North Wilkesboro and watch me race?
You knows, Tiny Ty, I own my own team, right? Because you knows I got my own family, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink.
Come on, Big T. I'm your boy, right?
I don't even know why. I'm out of character now. Why did Big Tony say wink, wink? I think that was in the original joke, and I forgot to pull it out.
Don't pull it out.
Wink, wink. I should do it for those watching.
Don't pull it out. This is not OnlyFans.
Hey, Tiny Ty. There we go. I winked.
Come on, Big T. I'm your boy, right?
I tells you what. I'll buy you a beer there. You's old enough, right?
Is President Joe B going to be there?
Maybe he's why.
Because President Joe announced that he would give a free bottle of Bud Light to anybody who got a vaccine. I got mine. Free beer for me.
Well, that totally makes sense, doesn't it? Joe give you that. Oh, forget about it. I know that's because the next day the president of Mexico, he announced he would give a bottle of Corona to anyone who got a vaccination.
Yeah, but the day after, the president of Ireland announced that he'd be giving out free bottles of water. Biden and Obrador were confused and gave the Irish president Zoom call. We kind of expected you to give out free Guinnesses, but from Ireland and all. The Irish president replied, well, if you guys aren't giving out beer, then neither am I.
That makes total sense.
Is Corona not a beer?
It's piss water, too. Actually, it looks more like piss than Budweiser.
I like Corona.
Maybe they shouldn't have clear bottles in the Corona, though.
Corona Light.
Because when I pee after drinking Corona, it looks just like what I put in.
You know people quit buying Corona when coronavirus got here? Isn't that stupid?
Yeah, and they did nothing, where Budweiser just really pissed people off. It's still going, man. It's still all over the social media.
I haven't even paid attention to it this week.
Well, I see videos and stuff, but I haven't clicked it because I still owe my video. I got me a Bud Light at home.
Jamie told y'all last week that he was going to make you a Bud Light video, and here we are, full week later.
It rained Friday. I couldn't shoot it then.
You could shoot it in the shade.
In the shade? Okay.
Lightning,
thunder,
umbrella.
My Bud Light and my Tornado. Oh, sheesh. That Tornado's going to suck me up. It's going to suck this Bud Light, but we'll give the Bud Light to the Tornado because it tastes like shit.
You'd have drank the Bud Light.
I ain't drinking it. I hate Bud Light.
Kill you. All right, Twitter says. You ready?
What does Twitter say, Brad? Breaking news. Twitter says.
Tweeter says. So at GirlFlux tweeted out, Ross Chastain on Kyle Larson. Are we even, or does he want to drive me into the fence again?
I guess he wants to drive you into the fence again.
Well, at maybe it's Noah replied with, why is NASCAR not going to enforce the restart zone rules? Why does anyone even bother following the rules?
They don't.
So do you think Ross jumped that restart?
He jumped it, they looked at the tape and said he didn't.
Well, they didn't want to get into it. They're like, Ross can cause more damage up front than in the back, so we'll let him slide.
But he still caused that damage.
Well, they wanted that damage. That adds to the Ross Chastain controversy. So,
well, at some point, Trackhouse is going to say, hey, Ross, you need to start winning.
Well, you would think they would make more money winning than with Ross pissing everybody off each week.
And that's where Ross's maturity is effed up. Because if he would drive a little more maturely, like I said, he probably would have won 2 more races last year and already have won 2 this year. Look at our friend in the 24.
William Byron?
He has won 3 races, dude, quietly.
I mean, he won this weekend quietly. He didn't dominate.
You know what he reminds me of?
How many laps did he lead?
What, 4? 2?
7.
Okay, so
7.
He reminds me of Jimmy Johnson. He quietly won 7 championships. I
think this is he's won 3.
Byron's year to win a championship.
He's won 3 races this year, That's saying something right there.
But you know what else it says? Chase is the number 3 driver. Look at Larson.
Yeah, but Larson's not winning.
He's won 2.
Yeah, but Larson's a win or wreck guy.
It's because he's hanging around with Ross.
That's a fact.
I mean,
anybody who hangs around with Ross is going to get wrecked.
So you got who's number 1? Is it Byron or is it Larson? It's not Chase right now.
Chase is obviously struggling. The car, not necessarily Chase Elliott as a driver. I think the number 9 team as a whole is obviously struggling.
Aren't you going to put your marbles where the winner's at, though?
I mean, you would probably go with Byron as the number 1 driver.
Larson, if he hadn't been Chastain, he might have 4 wins, but he doesn't. I mean, we got to look at the win-loss ratio.
Byron's been Chastained.
Byron.
So he could have 4 wins.
Byron last year kind of talked some smack about Chastain, but not a lot. He quietly performs.
I think him and Rudy Frugal try to stay out of the limelight of the drama and just go out and win each week.
Well, the formula is working.
It's working for them.
Yep.
So at that Jones fan replied to Gluck with, this was before he drove him into the fence and spun himself out too. What a clown. Yep. So
does he have, what's his gender?
Clown.
Okay. Is that a gender too?
Yeah.
That'll be on next week. Clown.
It's the 79th gender. It comes right before.
You pull down your pants and laugh.
It's right.
I do that anyway. My wife does it. I pull down my pants and
all 72 genders are laughable. So at the _ NASCAR Jeff says to Jeff with, I think it was funny that Larson was still in the gas pushing the 1 car down the backstretch. Well,
I did too.
Jeff, so do we.
I thought it was hilarious. Needs to happen more often.
At Cransome 2 replied to Jeff Gluck with, difference, Larson didn't take it too far. He didn't take himself out in the process. Chastain got to be Chastain and take it too far. Pretty much.
Agree with that statement 100%.
Kind of what we're saying. He takes it to the point where he runs out of talent.
He's hurting his own.
He drives the car above his ability and wrecks himself and somebody else. It's coming off as aggressive.
The car's better than he is.
No doubt. They need to put Sorass in his car and him over in Sorass's car and see how that goes.
I have a feeling we're going to have driver changes in the next few years over at Trackhouse.
You think? So at MJ Burrows said...
Is that Michael Jordan Burrows?
No.
No?
Matthew.
Okay.
Hey, remember when Darlington nearly got kicked off the NASCAR schedule? Days like today had a little something to do with it.
Well, it wasn't exciting till stage 3. 40 laps, I guess, 20 laps in.
Well, what I've said on the show today about enjoying Flow Racing and their races that they broadcast because of my short attention span.
I got a question that I don't quite understand.
Okay.
So you're in a wreck and the caution comes out, right?
Yes.
Why are you getting your same spot back when cars drove through the debris clean and they should be ahead of you now? They didn't wreck.
Because NASCAR
We're going to put wrecked cars in front of perfectly good working cars?
Well, when Elliott is one of the 3 cars that happens to, and you're the other 2, you're like, cool. This is going to work
good
out
because
in our favor.
Elliott's in here with me.
So NASCAR goes, hey, that was Chase Elliott. He bumped the wall, but he continued moving. Even though he lost spots, we're going to give him those spots back because he slowed down. He didn't avoid the crash because he was in it, but he kept moving after he was in it. So
I think if you make it through
basically, it's NASCAR favoritism is all it is.
Yeah, because I think if you make it through the debris untouched,
Then
you should hold that position.
correct. If you're in the wreck at all, even if
Back
you
of
keep
the pack.
moving, you go to the back of the pack.
Yep.
It's just fair. Or wherever you come out of the wreck in.
And the car that's not moving the furthest away from the start finish is the very last car, if they can get it repaired.
Correct. So MJ Burrows said, hey, remember when Darlington nearly got kicked off the schedule? Days like today had a little something to do with that. Well, at MPotato41 responded with, your attention span is saddening. This race isn't a barn burner by any stretch, but shockingly, it's hard to pass at Darlington. Almost like it always been that way.
What's wrong with that person? I hope to them. I curse them.
They seem a little...
I hope they reach into their underwear to scratch their scratchy hemorrhoid on their ass and find a load of poop.
You can't tell their gender?
And then it's stuck under their fingernail and they don't wash their hands and then they eat it by accident.
Would that be a do gender?
I don't know if dude's a gender.
Poo gender.
Poo gender.
Poo gender.
You need to check that out. Is there a poo gender?
I don't know. Look, it might be. If there's not, they're going to add it.
If there's no butt baby, there can't be a poo gender.
So at 4 Pikmin, that's Pikmin, says, I think it'd be cool if you guys all decide to shut up for once.
It's funny that he wasted his time to put that on Twitter.
I know, like...
Okay, dude.
At Ro Jody, that's R-O Jody, says, today is the yang to yesterday's and Friday's yin. Holy snooze fest, Batman. So she's saying the Xfinity and truck race are better. We agree, Ro Jody. So,
that reminds me of something.
What?
Well, first they spell it just like my wife does, with an I.
Yeah.
So I ordered on Wednesday a cake for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
It said Happy Mother's Day, Nana. That's what my kids call my mother. And Jody.
They misspelled it?
So it's worse than that. I go to Publix to pick it up yesterday morning.
Yeah.
And the lady at the baker's like, I know it's here. I know it's here. She's looking all over the place, opening other people's cakes and boxes. She says, I know it's here. And I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting ticked. Then she goes and gets another employee to look, double check.
I can't find it.
Then she comes back and says, I think we sold it to someone else. I said, yeah, but you know what? I took that anger and sucked it up. And I looked at her. She had a wedding band on. I identified her as a woman. But I said, hey, are you a mother? And she said, yes. I said, look, it's okay. We can fix this. I'll buy this little sheet cake that says Happy Mother's Day. And you can have a Happy Mother's Day too. You know what? She was so overjoyed. I'm glad I took the high road.
Did she write Nana and Jody on the cake for you?
No, I just took the generic. I didn't even ask. I was like, it's all good. Because it was like $20 cheaper. The crappy
So did they even
generic.
charge you?
They charged me.
Should have gave it
Oh,
to you.
but when I ordered on Publix's website, I said I would pay at the cashier. So I didn't pay for the cake that they sold to someone else.
Well, that's good. So you only paid for one cake, and you saved money, and you made.
It was almost like $30 for what I asked for.
I'm actually proud of you.
It was $11.99 to get the little sheet cake, the just generic Happy Mother's Day.
I would have expected you to flip out.
I decided why ruin. No, I'm not going to. First, there were two things. I'm not going to let this ruin my day. And second,
Could have.
I'm not going to let it ruin her day. Let's let someone else be that asshole.
True that.
So
Proud of you.
we left happy.
Well, at Road Jody, oh, we already read that. At P Jacuse Racing.
John Cusack?
I don't know. It's Jack Hughes. It's Jack and then Cuse, like Ques.
It might be. I think John Cusack is secretly a NASCAR fan.
Is that how you say that? Is John Cusack? It says P Jacuso Racing. I'm not Spanish.
Sounds like he's got a little Legends car. He formed a racing company.
He says, unpopular opinion, shorter races would change that. Remove stage racing would as well. I still say run heat races, then have an hour break and then 200-mile main race. Drivers play the game better these days. The sport has evolved. Racing is not always going to be side-by-side action.
You know what? That's John Cusack. I'm gonna reach out to him. I'm gonna DM him on Twitter page.
On the tweeter.
And I'm gonna ask him if he's a racing fan, does he own a team? And if he says no, John Cusack was kind of like, I don't know, he might be my same age, a little older. He starred in all those kid movies.
I don't even know who he is.
When I was a teenager.
I'd have to see a picture of him.
I'll show you next week. I'm gonna reach out to him. I'm gonna invite him to come to a race with us.
Maybe he'll be on the show. We can sit in between us.
Yeah, we can have him as a guest.
A new studio.
Maybe he could do what would we call the next NASCAR movie? Trading Paint?
That's already taken.
Wrecking into Chastain? Crashing Chastain.
Who wants to be Chastain?
We should make that movie.
Who wants to be Chastain?
Yeah.
I'll be your Chastain. I'll be your Huckleberry. So at Clown World _ said, CBS segment highlights how adding bugs to the food system could be a game changer to fight climate change.
Well, how does that have anything to do with racing?
It doesn't.
Cut a hole in the windshield and just open your mouth and suck up some flies?
It was interesting to me, this tweet, because they're saying if we consume bugs versus beef, we'll be able to have less cattle because the cows are farting and the methane from the cow fart is killing the environment.
Whatever. I mean, I know that cows' butts fart and it's flammable.
Yeah, but we fart too.
But we eat beef.
Or are they gonna?
Shouldn't you fart if you eat a cow?
Are you gonna start eating cricket powdered beef?
Well, the way I see it, any place that prepares your food, there's an opportunity for skin flakes of the person preparing it, dandruff from their hair, and there's flies in every restaurant. Look carefully. Maybe you shouldn't look carefully, because if I see too many flies,
you know what I've come to notice.
I'm sure you've eaten a fly, and I've eaten a fly and not known it.
Oh yeah. What I've come to notice is you basically have to avoid chains like Outback Chili's, Applebee's, those kind of chain restaurants where the cook was also working at 7-Eleven the week before.
And they're all.
We went to a place called Nick and Norman's over in Sonoya, Georgia.
Yeah, I've been there. It's nice. Owned by the guy that Walking Dead.
Correct. So went there last week. Great food. Great place. And I think restaurants like that are where you get, like, I notice when me and my customers are going out to eat, we're trying to go to places like Nick and Norman's and not chain restaurants because the service sucks at these chains. And the quality of the food sucks at these chain restaurants.
I have a problem with, I have a lot of people want to go to Longhorn and they put the same seasoning on everything.
Yeah, but I mean,
my salad tastes like a steak.
That's a chain.
I know, it's horrible.
That's why I said you go.
We will never be endorsed by them.
Wayback is a good one. Wayback Burgers in Florida.
Oh, you got that burger place here.
Yeah, but that's
have you been there yet?
No, but I mean,
we gotta go.
You go to places like that, and that's like when I go out to Cartersville, we do it. I mean, pretty much every customer I go out to lunch with now, I let them pick, and I want to go somewhere local because you're going to get better food. The service quality might still suck, but it's service sucks, period, nowadays. So, but at least the food is original and it's good. It's not somebody reading the menu, but this goes this, or prepackaged and warming it up. That's what you're getting at most of these places. So,
might as well go to McDonald's, so dropping $100.
So, at MS Red Mama 1,
okay,
replied to Clown World with, "Oh hell no! They putting cricket powders in our foods. This has nothing to do with climate. the Green New Deal. We have had cows, bison, extra way before us, and no okay. I think she said men exist, but way before us and no climate crap. It is the buildings, not animals. Plus, I guess they not get that we pass gas, so we must be doing it too. Then, idiots.
We have a population problem on this earth.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm not eating bugs, dude. I'm just not.
You are. You don't know it.
No.
Any food in a bottle or a can is made in a factory in your kitchen. Eventually, you're going to get a ground up bug.
All right. Well, we're not going to North Wilkesboro this week, but if we were, Jamie, let's read some reviews from some bad hotels out of the Wilkesboro, Wilkes County.
Great about Wilkesboro?
They got a lot of
these reviews
hotels.
Are exactly as we expected, having visited there last year. Did we cover any hotels when we visited there last year? I don't think so, because it was a cup race on a Sunday. Then on Thursday we saw Dale Jr. drive, and the following Sunday was another cup race.
Yes, I doubt we did. So I'm sure we didn't get any of these lovely reviews.
And once again, legally,
no names.
No names. Right. This is why it's important for you to read reviews.
Only you can prevent bed
Only
bugs.
You. Or if you read something you want, you can find the reviews if your shirt's off, you can do this too.
Tata's out and you can do this.
Why
are you telling people to take their shirts off?
I like boobs.
I just zone back in over here
and see some boobs.
No, I don't want to see your boobs.
Not yours or mine.
Are you putting your boobs on your OnlyFans account?
I prefer.
Our buddy Lance asked about your OnlyFans account. So I think Lance might have been.
I was at his place of business when my pants exploded.
Well, he might actually be the first subscriber to your OnlyFans.
He blamed it on someone else. You believe that?
He might be your first OnlyFans subscriber. What to ask?
Like I said, I like female boobs. I'm a boob man.
Female boobs, but he will show you his boobs on OnlyFans.
Well, no, it depends on. It's going to cost you a lot.
How much are you paying?
I mean, we can do all kinds of crazy things on my OnlyFans. How much are you paying?
We ain't doing anything on your OnlyFans.
7 figures will get you a lot of craziness. That's 1 million, folks. 1 million. Jeff Bezos, if you're listening, I'll take your money.
All right, let's jump on.
I'll give you what you want too. Well, just on video. Anyway, DC Adventures. They reviewed this. They gave this particular hotel a 5 out of 5.
That's what I'm talking about.
I can tell you, we're not going to name the hotel. But you know where that lady wanted to kill me?
Yeah. At the 76?
Way east, probably 30 miles east of the racetrack.
Yeah.
When we were headed to Charlotte. It's on the other side of the interstate, this hotel.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway.
That's sketchy in itself.
He says, DC's Adventures, awesome place to throw down and have a good time, if you know what I mean. And he's got a laughing emoji.
Don't know what you mean.
Tongue out. But the staff is awesome. What does he mean, but the staff? It should be also the staff, right? Awesome as hell. Straight 5 stars from this guy. And then he does the cool sunglass emoji. I have peculiar needs, and this place provides them. Yeah, it's going to get pretty peculiar.
Okay.
From just the right flavors of toot toot and butt. I make love to a manhole. Have you ever heard that term before?
No.
It's a manhole.
I'm still stuck.
Is that in the middle of the road where the sewer drains?
Is toot toot short for bum
cocaine,
bum?
I'm thinking.
That's okay.
I'm thinking cocaine.
I know.
I don't know.
Maybe it's butt.
Toot toot's also with Thomas the Tank Engine goes toot toot. So I'm not sure.
Maybe need some trains and some.
But then
manhole.
I think he's a werewolf because he says every new moon.
Is that a manhole cover he's having sex with?
I'm not sure. I'm just going to read what he says. Every new moon, I must climax as the last contestant of Final Jeopardy gives their answer. I absolutely abstain from any intercourse on any other day. Judge if you must, but I take my sexual drive and focus, my desires, my urges for a month, and then receive a cleansing and a rebirth with this ritual. I'm super successful, so harness the power. Is he telling us to do the same thing?
Is he describing a gender?
Because I'm not totally sure.
His
it's kind of abstract.
His review is about as clear as a gender definition.
All I got from his review is that he got what he wants, and it sounds like he gets it monthly.
Cocaine and butt.
Manhole. So I'm assuming that's connected to butt.
Or it's a manhole
He didn't say cornhole, which would be totally different. It'd be a beanbag game.
He said manhole, which is a cover.
But he says, I make love to a manhole.
Maybe he was the meth ninja we saw in the corner. You think he couldn't
spell and he meant man whore?
Maybe he was the meth ninja we saw in the corner at the Walmart.
The big white guy with just his underwear on, kicking it at 2 a.m?
I think it was 2 p.m, but yeah.
Didn't we see him again when we came back from the race Thursday night at like 2
in
the morning, though?
That's why we called him the meth ninja, because he was still on the sidewalk in his underwear doing ninja moves.
At the exit of Walmart.
So maybe what we didn't see when he was not there was him on the sidewalk doing a manhole cover.
But then he comes up with, I'm super successful, so harness the power. He's gaining power from his weird Wolfman routine?
I don't know. I just don't know anymore. I really don't.
But I think it's more straight.
I don't even think it's weird.
If we could talk to this dude, I think it's more straightforward than our gender bending.
Last week you were talking about putting your wiener in holes in the wall.
Well, was that a manhole too?
Well, it's a hole in the wall. So how is it that far of a stretch to think he wouldn't stick his wiener in a hole on a manhole cover? There's 4 holes there to pick it up. So maybe
they put that weird tool. They stick it, under. And
maybe he sticks his weird tool inside the manhole cover.
Well, there's no telling, because we need more information from them.
Well, DC's Adventures.
It was an adventure.
I'm not sticking my wiener in a hole.
If there was no other, if we were going to the All-Star race and there was no other hotel left, I would. And there's a full moon.
You're not staying at this one.
I'm not staying at this one.
So you hear him howling in the park. Yeah. Maybe he howls because it gets one.
Like a werewolf in London.
Maybe he sticks it in and then it gets stuck. And then he howls once a month. Ow! Ow! And then it not hurt no more and he gets it out.
Did you notice when we were out in the country in North Carolina, it was very familiar. It was like we were in Arkansas.
Now that you mention it, yeah.
Luckily, Charlotte was an hour away for you to get a little normal stuff.
Oh, Wilkes County, boy.
Yeah, it's a different place up there.
Ross might not make it out.
So,
be howling. Ow!
This dude drove to Wilkesboro based on a dream.
Awesome.
First off, my girl and I drove down from Virginia because the word on the street was that they was cooking some Triple B.
Triple B.
Triple B.
Not sure what that is.
It's coming. He tells us.
Can that be?
For those that don't know, it's like surfing on a rainbow while having an orgasm.
So is this the same reviewer as the first one?
No, it's a different guy.
Okay.
And then he says, Breaking Bad Blue. So I guess he's explaining Triple B.
Okay. So Breaking Bad.
Yes. The mythical quest for blue meth.
There we go.
It's like seeing Bigfoot and riding a magic carpet. That's what we heard.
Mm-hmm.
So this dude drove from Virginia based on a rumor that Breaking Bad meth is down in Wilkesboro.
You crackhead.
It could be. We saw that blown up single wide trailer down in
He's a crackhead.
Canyon.
You got it bad. You're right.
My girl and me went to Victoria's Secret.
Mm-hmm.
This was going to be one hell of a weekend.
Yep.
Then we went to X Mart, which I'm not sure what it was and didn't Google it. I'm assuming because he says we bought some toys.
Oh, yeah. It's like Toys R Us.
But Amazon also delivered the tripod for the GoPros.
Okay.
So I think they're going to make movies. That's their, what's that?
OnlyFans?
OnlyFan account, I think. This was going to be epic, and we wanted to document it because according to the stories we heard, we may not remember it later.
What? Okay.
Wow.
Okay. I'm not even going to question
Okay.
that one. Why would you? Okay.
Remember, we were there. We've been to this.
Yeah,
town.
I know. That's why I was going to say, why
Yeah.
would you like?
We've been to Arkansas too.
Why would you volunteer this information to the police? But I have been to Wilkes County and I have been to Arkansas.
I don't think the police care.
No, I mean, and
We saw police.
obviously neither does Lieutenant Dan here.
Remember that nasty Mexican restaurant we went to?
It was edible.
That's about it. It
Yeah.
passed.
It passed.
We checked into the motel and used the passwords we were given. What?
Okay.
It's like going to a Mason Lodge.
Yeah.
Well, the password is fly right, left blue.
Stick your wiener in this manhole
Yeah,
cover
put it
and
in
we'll
the
know you're
manhole
looking
cover.
for the blue meth.
Different hotel though.
Oh, yeah.
And I think manhole meant something else. I'm going to bend over and show you my manhole here in Wilkesboro.
Depends on how you identify, I guess.
I got bored. Oh, we received a key for our room. We just sat there. I got bored and set up the cameras. Still, we waited. We both decided to take showers. Didn't want to be dirty for the movie. Okay.
Okay.
The tub was nasty, but we were focused on the BBB.
Build back better.
Brokeback Blue Mountain. Finally, someone knocked on the door. I handed them the money, and they gave me a brown paper bag. Doesn't sound like they really care. They're not worried about police up there.
Nah.
My girl snipped into, what is snipped?
I don't know.
Snipped into her Victoria.
Slipped, probably, but
Well, you're high on meth.
it could be anything.
Snip might be a better term. It was blue. Oh my God. OMG. We were so excited. I tried to cut it, but it was sticky. It would break up. I don't know about meth, but having watched Breaking Bad, usually it shattered when they hit it with a hammer.
I don't remember it being sticky.
We panicked. We were jonesing for it. Hadn't had it for a while. WTF. We decided to turn on the cameras and let it dissolve in our mouths. It was rock candy. My girl was bad. Really in a bad way. She started to destroy the room.
Mad, maybe, you think?
I think she was jonesing for it.
Well, that means it could be bad.
So it was bad. She's destroyed the room. I mean, dismantling it. She busted a chair and then took a leg from it and busted the TV. She tried to flip the bed, but it was bolted to the wall. She took the chair lead. I think he meant leg.
Yeah.
And wedged it under the bed frames and pulled it from the wall. She then took a rail from the frame and threw it through the window. It flew through the Windsor. This guy is definitely hopped up.
Yeah.
Through the Windsor not?
He's hopped up on rock candy.
Were they also watching the coronation of the king?
Yeah.
It flew through the Windsor and went through the car parked in front of the room windshield. So the room has a windshield? I think he meant it went through the window. He said it went through the window and then the windshield. I think he's high.
Yeah.
Then she destroyed the dresser. She entered the bathroom and ripped the sink from the wall and shattered the toilet. She was in a garter with the belt and an open bra. I mean, tits out. This took all of 3 minutes, so she's really losing it.
Oh, yeah.
She grabbed the other bed rail and ran from the room into the parking lot and started destroying other cars in the parking lot. This chick, she's a bad seed.
Oh, no.
You know what? She's worse than this dude.
She's Moon-Eyed daughter.
The police were called and she disappeared. I have been home here in Northern Virginia for 3 months now and she still hasn't come back to her parents' house.
Oops. She's in jail.
If I could give it negative stars, I would. Worst drug experience ever, negative 5 stars. Does he?
Well,
Warning, do not stay here. Drug dealers and parking
maybe
lots.
he should have went here.
Hookers in front of the hotel.
He
That's the
should've-
title of the other hotel.
Yeah, maybe he should have went here. All right.
So this guy, he reviewed it via mobile, which I guess is his phone
Or his
or
house.
mobile app.
Maybe it's his house.
I walked in and booked this place for 2 nights
It was in an RV. Who knows?
away due to the close proximity to the airport. I should have looked at the reviews. Big mistake. Yes,
Every time.
that is a mistake. 4 police officers walked in to raid a room as they can run my credit card. What?
As they ran my credit card.
Oh, okay. So he's checking in, and these 4
Yeah.
officers bust into a room, I guess.
Exactly.
I walked out the front door into a young lady soliciting men who had obvious track marks on her arms and a few teeth.
She had
Are the
track
few
marks on
teeth-
her teeth.
Are the few teeth attractive, or is that a negative?
Does
Did
she have
just
a few
couple
teeth? Did the men have a few teeth, or was it her?
I don't know.
Hmm.
I rounded the corner to my car and ran smack into 3 guys full of tattoos passing a baggie of what looked like drugs.
What you got against tattoos, man?
What about,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, the laws in North Carolina? Drugs may be legal.
Maybe.
There were multiple doors kicked in from the raid. I called to cancel my room, and they stated no refunds, even though my booking isn't for 2 days from now. Yeah, you should have read the reviews, too. Because when I was reading this, I saw hotel was the worst hotel in my life. I tried to check out, and they said no refunds. As we've experienced at the,
Yeah.
what was it called?
Crack
Beachfront
house.
Inn?
Yeah. Crack house inn. Halfway house inn on the beach.
Yeah. I wouldn't chance my life staying at this place. If you don't get robbed in the parking lot, you're most definitely going to be risking exposure to hepatitis from the obvious drug abusers living there. This place should be shut down due to health violations and public safety concerns. Well, it doesn't even sound like he inspected his room too well.
I think the other guy should have went here instead.
Why is he all hooked on hepatitis?
Yeah. He went to get the vid like little
Because
Ty.
he's hooked on meth?
That little vid like little Ty did.
What was that? What was that reading cassettes they had back in the day? Hooked on phonics. I don't know where that came from.
It
That's
did.
as random as the meth review.
Hooked on phonics. Worked for me. That was their slogan.
Yeah, it worked for me too. I got the free one.
Did it work for you? It didn't work for me.
Nah, it really did.
It took a lot to teach me how to read.
Then we found out I was dyslexic and it wasn't the hooked on phonics.
All right, this weekend they are racing at North Wilkesboro. It's the first time since 1996.
Been a while.
We're not doing fantasy picks this week because it's an exhibition race and we really don't have any data to go on. So we will be picking one driver, but it's just for fun, not for points. Last week I had Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, and Ty Gibbs for a total of 30 points. Jamie had Truex, Brad Keselowski, and Christopher Bell for a total of 49 points. This weekend's race, 5:30 p.m. is when the heat races are going to start. It's going to be on FS1 because Fox hates NASCAR. It's going to be on MRN. It's a 0.62 mile oval. It's going to eat tires. I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's going to be a tire conservation race.
We were sitting.
Do you
at,
run fast, get a big lead, or do you sit
Well,
back?
we
and
saw
save your
people
tires?
lapping quick last year,
Well, that's because they were saving their tires.
and it smelled like burning rubber from lap 1.
Oh, it's going to. I mean,
You could see the rubber pellets just
cheese
bouncing.
grater is
Yeah.
an understatement of the year. I mean, it's going to be 50 laps on these tires. On our Goodyear tires, at least, are going to be a struggle, in my opinion. So, Jamie, I'm going to let you pick first. No rules. Pick one driver. Who do you think will win it all at North Wilkesboro this weekend?
Denny Hamlin.
Ooh.
Denny's due, even though he just won.
Man, I could go. I tell you what, I'm going to make the smart pick. Joey Logano. Dude won the Clash the first time we went there.
He's the
Dude
OG.
won Bristol the first time we went there.
You know, the best thing that happened to Joey's career was Chastain. We don't talk about Joey that often anymore.
I'm going to go with Joey. And
It's a good pick.
it's a non-exhibition race. I mean, exhibition race, so it doesn't matter. Joey always screws me in our fantasy points, which I won last week at 19 points.
You did. I mean, if it wasn't for Chastain, I would have done pretty good.
Yeah, because he screwed you.
Oh, he screwed me good.
I mean, that's why you can't pick Chastain.
Truex was a dominant car.
All day. Well, that's
Cost
all
me
I got.
31 points, man.
That's all I got this week. What do you got? Anything else?
That's it. Rate us.
Rate us. Get that rate us.
Rate us.
Jamie's probably had to rate us. We've all probably had COVID, so Boss has COVID. We'll all have COVID. We're all going to go get COVID.
I think I'm over COVID because the doctor said we don't test for it anymore. And I said, well, then I ain't got it.
My kids, all of them been sick for like 2 or 3 weeks. And we take them to the doctor. They've been tested for everything. So I told my wife, I'm like, make sure they test our son for COVID this time around. And the doctor's like, yeah, we don't test. If you're worried about COVID, go to the pharmacy. You can take a test there. You can buy one.
Last week, I had boogers like crazy.
You thought it was COVID?
It smelled. The boogers smelled like burnt wood. So I Googled smelling burnt stuff constantly.
Sign of COVID?
The different websites said, it's nothing to worry about. And other people said, go see a doctor immediately. And I was like, I'm going to go with the doctor immediately. And I said, hey, I need a COVID test. And he said, we don't test for it anymore. I said, okay, well, I'm declaring I don't have it. He said, well, how long have you felt this way? I said, well, about 3-4 days. He goes, oh, you're good. You can keep working if you want. I said, okay.
It's crazy.
We went from being shut down for 2 years to 2 days.
Not worried about it.
Just stay at home for 2 days. Don't cough on nothing.
Trying to get that. We're trying to get the spread back up, probably.
Probably because there's no government money in it anymore. They're like, all right, if we ain't getting paid, we ain't doing it.
Yep. Well,
America!
Thanks to everyone who listens, watches, shares the show every week. We greatly appreciate you. Everybody at Coastal Oil, we greatly appreciate you guys. Thanks for retweeting us every week.
Danny Carbon Plumbing, too. Pretty good plumbing.
Danny Carbon Plumbing, yeah, we appreciate your support every week.
County.
Peachtree City, Sonoy, ain't nobody got anything on Danny Carbon Plumbing.
Nope.
Make sure you follow us on Twitter. We're at Car Backwards. Go to our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe and check out our other videos.
He'll crawl down a manhole for you, but not the manhole, the metal one in the middle of the street.
Not DC's manhole?
Not DC's manhole.
Check us out on Spotify and rate us. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. Send us a DM or email us at racecarbackwardspod@gmail.com. And we'll read it, and we might not answer it on the show. We might not care what you have to say. And if you have a problem with anything we've said, please email us so we can not care.
You know what else?
What?
We're being ignored by Charlotte for a request for press pass for Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
I guess it's because we're not endorsed by NASCAR.
Probably.
Or maybe we don't endorse NASCAR. Think it's our fault?
Probably. It's probably all the crap we say. Make sure you check out our new merch store and go to our website, racecarbackwards.com. You can find our merch store there. Other than that, y'all have a great week, and we'll see you next week. See y'all. Bye.
Bye-bye.